Well, good evening. First of all, can everyone hear me okay? No, not in the back. Keith, can we turn it up a little bit? Okay. How about now? Well, I can hear me. All right. Good evening. My name is Matt McClellan. I get the privilege of serving as your Board of Education president this year. And I'd like to start by thanking the Jones Middle School Honor Choir. That was a great welcome. Another round of applause. Their instructors do a great job, Katie Whiting, David Monsieur, and Sarah Santilli, and that was a nice welcome to the evening. To get started this evening, I'd like to introduce my colleagues on the board, and we've done a lot of work last year. I'll just make a quick statement about each one, but I'll start with our Vice President, Robin Comfort. Can she stand up? There she is in the back. Robin's Vice President this year, and I'll tell you what she does. She always thinks of students first, and it brings a great counter to me. I tend to think money first, so I think we'll work well as a team. Then our outgoing president, Nancy Drees. I saw Nancy, there's way in the back. Nancy did a lot of heavy lifting last year. We got a lot done. Now we have a lot more to do, but I want to thank Nancy publicly for all the work she did. And then we have two other board members, Stacy Royer. In the back, Stacy is serving as... Stacy was going to come up and say a few words, but she said that I could simply say she's starting her second term, and she's very excited to be reelected and getting that term started right now. And Carol Moore up front. Carol and I were elected together, and she's starting her third year on the board. And as I get tonight kicked off, all I really have to say, and then I'm going to turn it over to the administration and then the professionals. The board takes it very seriously, our role. We want to be transparent, and we want to honor our commitment to the community. And that commitment is to share where we are financially and to continually update you on where we are with our strategic plan and the efforts we're making toward putting that strategic plan in place. So with that said, I am going to turn it over to the professionals. Paul Imhoff, our school superintendent.
Thanks, Matt, and thanks to the entire Board of Education. It is a pleasure to be here tonight as we kick off our second annual State of the Schools event. February is a month where we also recognize the service of our Board of Education members. And so I do want to pause for just a moment and thank them for what they do for our schools every day. Being on a Board of Education is oftentimes a thankless job. And I will tell you that we have 5 great board members who really put students first and have a clear vision for this school district. And our community is a better place because of them and because of their vision and because of their leadership. So can we just thank them for all they do for us? I also just want to thank again the wonderful choirs from Jones and Hastings who just performed. I thought they just did a wonderful job. I always love to hear our kids perform, from the youngest kids to our oldest kids. They always wow me, and I am so proud of them, and I can't think of a better way to kick off tonight. There are a number of special guests who are with us tonight, and so I just want to take a moment and welcome them. If I forget anyone, I apologize. I believe with us tonight we have one former member of the Board of Education, Gloria Heidloff. Gloria, thank you for being here tonight. We appreciate all you do for our community. Really happy to have our State Senator Jim Hughes with us. Jim. And our State Representative Stephanie Kunze. Stephanie. And again, I want to just pause for a moment, and I want to thank both Jim and Stephanie for your service to our schools and to our community. I will tell you that they are always just a phone call away, and they take their service to Upper Arlington very seriously, and we really appreciate all you've done for our schools and our students. So thank you so much, and thanks for being here. We also have several members of our city team here tonight. I want to recognize our city manager, Ted Staten. Our Assistant City Manager, Dan Rowley. Dan, thank you for being here. I believe I saw our mayor come in. Is Debbie Johnson here? Debbie, are you here? Debbie, thank you for being here. From the library, we have Kate Porter with us tonight. Kate, thank you very much for being here. And I just want to thank all of you for being here tonight. It means so much to us. I also saw many members of the Upper Arlington Education Foundation tonight, and I have to tell you that this is not an ordinary education foundation. They do so much for our schools and so much for our students, and they are so much a fabric of who we are. So I want to thank the Education Foundation for all that they continue to do to support our schools. I would also encourage you tonight during the evening to take a moment and visit a new area of our library right upstairs on the second floor, and you're going to see some of the fruits of the labor of both the Education Foundation and the high school PTO, who have been putting some wonderful new areas for students upstairs, and they have funded that. So please take a moment to take a look upstairs this evening. We're also incredibly lucky to have the Upper Arlington Community Foundation in our city, and they are working and funding a new project called The Stand, which is a project designed to help keep our kids off drugs and alcohol. And I will tell you that drugs and alcohol are a problem in every community, in every school district, and we are no different. But where we are different is we are taking a stand, and we are doing what is right for our students. And I would encourage you to pay attention to the work that is happening because of The Stand, because we do have a responsibility to protect our kids from these dangers. I want to offer a special thanks to the city and to the library. It is very important to all three of our organizations to maintain a very close relationship, because we all understand that we are here to serve you, and we know that we serve you best when we are working together. So again, I want to thank the city and the library for being here tonight. I want to thank our amazing staff. We are incredibly privileged to have what I believe to be the best staff of any school district anywhere. We have dedicated professionals throughout all of our buildings, in all of our departments, working first and foremost to serve our students each and every day, and it is an honor to work with each of you. Thank you. And then finally, and most importantly, I want to thank all of you. I want to thank our parents and our community members. We all know that Upper Arlington is a wonderful place, and we all know that we're all blessed to be here and to live here. But on behalf of the entire school district, we want to thank you for all you do to support your schools and your children, because this is a special place because of you. I hope you enjoyed the slides that were playing as you came in, and they were just some samples of some great things that have happened in our schools throughout the school year. We could have put together a slideshow that would have lasted throughout the night and into tomorrow. We did not do that, but we just put a few highlights of the amazing things our students and staff have done throughout the year, and we're so incredibly proud of them. Tonight is an amazing opportunity for us to showcase the work of our students and staff, but it's also a good time for us to provide you with updates on the commitments we have made throughout the year. As I mentioned before, we do consider it an honor and a privilege to serve you, and we take our commitments to you very seriously. So to begin our updates this evening, it's my pleasure to introduce my friend and colleague, our Treasurer and CFO, Mr. Andrew Geisfeld.
Thank you, Paul, and thank you again for all of you coming tonight. It is a special night, and you know, Paul and I have a lot of conversations. At times it's Andy, you're right, or Paul, you're right, and this time it's Paul, he is right, on that we take our commitments very seriously. And whether it's me, whether it's Paul, whether it's our board, whether it's our district, we take our commitments very seriously of what we made to our community. And the biggest commitment we made back in 2013 with the last levy was that we would have that levy last 4 years. And I am glad to say that we are meeting that promise. We are tracking exactly where we thought we would be, and we will make our 4-year promise. Part of the other commitment is part of the strategic plan for my office and just financially overall is how do we educate our community on more and more of what's going on in the district financially. We have all kinds of documents on the website, but we are in the middle of creating a new financial report, which will show financially where we are right now, talk about where we're headed in the future, the projects we're dealing with right now, and then some of the challenges we're coming. So I would encourage you, as you see this come out in early spring, take a look at it, send it back. We're trying to find ways to connect all various groups so that it's not seen as a secret with the district's finances, but truly wide open. And as you look at that and you have other suggestions, please feel free to email us, as we really want to make this a useful tool versus just one more thing we're doing. As part of the internal financials, we also look externally. And I'm proud to say that once again, every year we're required to be audited by the Auditor of State on our financials. We just finished our 2014-15 audit. And once again, we had a clean opinion, and we received the Auditor of State Award, which means a clean opinion plus no kind of financial questionable costs. So therefore, we feel very proud about that. It's something we expect, but then once again, it's also something that we want to make sure we share, that we are doing things financially by a third party agreeing with that. We're also very fortunate that we were able to maintain our AAA bond rating this year. AAA bond rating from Standard & Poor's, which is a bond rating agency that comes, looks at our finances, talks to us about our financial planning, community support, those types of areas, and then helps determine what kind of bond rating we should have. We're one of a handful of districts across the state of Ohio that's a AAA bond rating. It's important for us because it's not only a third party saying, yes, you're doing some things right, and yes, we recommend with the investment in your bonds, but also it shows that as we issue bonds in the future, et cetera, we get lower interest rates, which is good for us as community members when we start paying off the debt. One of the other promises or major commitments we made back in 2013 was what we called the Efficiency Project. And the Efficiency Project, hopefully you've heard about because we've been trying to share this over the last several years, is we made the promise or the commitment that we would increase our bottom line by $4.5 million by the summer of 2017. And the big caveat is it cannot negatively impact students, and that was important to us. So what we've been able to do is by renegotiating contracts, reallocating various positions, by changing the way we do our insurance, as of October, we were 93% there of meeting our commitment, and we have saved so far $4.2 million. What I'm hoping is a year from now, when I'm standing in front of you, I can say we've exceeded 100% of what we were hoping to do, and we keep continuing to 110, 120, 130% of what we committed, because we truly do believe the way we stay financially sound is finding ways to do business differently, and we are committed and working on that. The other major efficiency commitment is what you've heard about, hopefully, which is our facilities master planning process. Hopefully you've all received postcards, as we've sent them out to every resident in the area or in the community, inviting you to the community meetings, talking about the facilities. I see some faces here, so I recognize some of you. We've had several hundred people involved in this process, and I would encourage you, as you see more, as you get postcards, as you hear more about the upcoming meetings, that you show up and really hear what's going on there. I want to show you a quick video, in case you have not attended, kind of how this started and kind of the background of our facilities process. So let's watch this video.
Our schools are a big part of what makes our community so special. When you think of all the memories made inside these walls and all the lessons learned, these buildings have served our community well for decades, in some cases, more than half a century.
The average age of our buildings is over 60 years old, and the costs continue to rise and are not going away. So we asked a group of local community professionals to help us evaluate our buildings.
I knew things were aging, but I didn't really know the extent of it until I took part in the productivity and efficiency team.
We went through each facility and it was eye-opening. In many cases, the infrastructure was simply reaching the end of its life. Continuing to maintain our commercial buildings and schools at this age was extremely costly.
Right now, the district is doing repairs as needed, but often that ends up being a lot more expensive in the long run. We need a comprehensive plan to make sure we don't start draining funds from the educational side.
There will always be costs associated with school buildings, but our community needs to take the time right now to make a conscientious plan for how these dollars are spent. Now's the time to plan wisely for the next 50 or 60 years.
We need to be smart with our financial resources, and we need to make sure our schools support the type of learning needed for today's students, and tomorrow's students as well. We can't let our facilities hold us back financially or educationally.
We have outlined a 2-year planning process, and we will have many ways for everyone to get involved throughout all of it. If you have a little time or a lot of time, we are committed to making it convenient for you, our entire community, to weigh in. We need to hear from each of you. This plan is simply that important.
We have many resources on our website. We hope you take the time to learn more, ask questions, and get involved.
We have an opportunity to shape our future. control our expenses, and ensure we honor our history, this really is an exciting time for our community.
So this is how the whole process started. It was by a recommendation from members of our community that were part of this task force that work in the private sector, and as they evaluated some of our financial records, they said, here's an area that concerns them greatly going into the future. So what we were able to do, and I want to thank those members. You saw a couple of them on the video screen, and there's a couple out there already, so thank you for your time and engagement to make this process happen. What I want to do now is I want to bring Paul back up here to really explain to you, so you saw how it started. Now let Paul share with you kind of where we are and where we're headed. So Paul, I'll turn it back to you.
Thanks, Andy. You saw a couple of members of the Productivity and Efficiency Work Team in the video, and I do want to thank them again for all of their work. It was really foundational work for us, and they're all busy business people in our community who spent a lot of time researching efficiency for us, and we're in their debt. I want to echo Andy's thanks too, and I want to commend our Board of Education for acting so quickly on the recommendation to move forward with this master planning process. As you heard in the video, we have developed a 3-phase planning process for this work. Phase 1 was the assessment phase, and we completed that in December. And during this phase, we relied upon an independent assessment from the Ohio Facilities Construction Commission and also assessments from Moody Nolan Architects and Turner Construction. Based upon this data, we learned that simply repairing our buildings over the next 15 years, simply repairing our buildings, I want to make sure you hear this, simply repairing our buildings over the next 15 years would cost approximately $188 million. This number does not reflect the need in many of our buildings for increased space due to increased enrollment. Now we're now in the second phase of our planning process, which is the options phase. And the hundreds of volunteers on our building teams are researching other options other than the repair option to see if renovating or even rebuilding our schools might make a better investment and might make more sense both financially and educationally. I have to be honest, there is no zero cost option when it comes to school buildings that are over a half a century old. There is no zero cost option. But we're working diligently and thoroughly with our community to make sure that we select a wise long-term plan for our community and most importantly for our students. If you haven't enjoyed this process yet, we would love to have you get involved. As I told you, we've had hundreds of people already get involved, and we would like hundreds and hundreds more. You should watch your mailbox for a mailing about the next community meetings, which are going to be held on February 23rd and 24th, and it's also not too late to join a building team. So you can get information about any of this by visiting our website at www.uaschools.org. There's also going to be a table set up in the auditorium lobby where you can find more information, and you can also sign up tonight. And again, and the Board of Education has made this clear over and over again, I want to remind you that your voice matters and your voice will directly impact our final plans. Now, we spent the last several minutes discussing efficiency and accountability, and that's important. But I'll tell you, I'm an educator first and foremost. And the things that are most important to me are the things that happened in our classrooms each and every day for our students. And so we're going to talk about that now. I'm going to start by discussing our performance goal. And performance is one of 5 goals in our strategic plan, which was unveiled at this event just last year. It's a what matters most plan with just 5 focused, measurable goals. And we created this plan using a hybrid approach to strategic planning that combined best practices from both the public and the private sector. And of course, it was created in partnership with many, many people from our community. As a part of our performance goal, many of our teachers have been working together to ensure a guaranteed and viable curriculum that stretches across all buildings and grade levels. As a part of the strategic planning process, we've also completed a student services review that includes special education, regular education, and gifted education services. We're going to be sharing the results of that review this spring, and we're going to be incorporating outcomes from that review into our strategic plan. And we are going to continue to focus on ensuring that all students are supported regardless of their background or their language or their style of learning. Another of our 5 goal areas is personalization. In this area, we have committed to using technology as a tool to personalize education for every student in our school district. In December, we distributed laptops to all of our students at both middle schools and high school, and we're going to be issuing devices to all of our elementary schools this fall. Now, as we talk about personalization efforts in our school district, I'll tell you, I get 2 questions over and over again. Paul, how are we paying for this, is first. And the second is, Paul, what is personalization? What is this? And so I want to take the first question first. How are we paying for this? We are reallocating current resources to cover the costs of the laptops we just leased for our secondary students. For example, we've used permanent improvement funds and general fund dollars that were previously set aside for technology and textbooks. And as we move away from needing computer labs and paper textbooks, we are going to be using these funds to pay for laptops. In addition, we're also charging a modest student fee for our technology. And finally, we have also chosen devices that have a great resale value. And so our plan is to sell these devices back every 4 years, and based upon our estimates, they're still going to retain 15 to 20% of their value after 4 years, and we will use those funds to then pay for the next cycle of computers that we purchase. And so again, our plan is to reallocate resources. But more importantly, what is personalization? And what does it look like in a classroom? Now, as a part of our planning process for the digital conversion, we actually took the time and we sent teachers and administrators and we visited different schools across the country who were doing this work. I will tell you, there were very few schools in Ohio doing this work, and so we had to travel. And so we sent teams out across the country to actually learn from people who were doing this work and to benchmark ourselves against those schools. I was on one visit, and I was talking to a 5th grade teacher, and when people ask me, what does personalization look like, I love to tell her story because it really resonated. And I was in her classroom, and I asked her the question, what is personalization? And she'd been doing this for 7 or 8 years using technology, and this is what she said. She said, you know, prior to this, Paul, prior to this, I taught a class. Now I teach individual students, and let me explain to you how that works. She said, in the old days, I taught 5th grade math, and I would introduce one math concept to the entire class at the same time. She said, I would never dream of doing that now. She said, now I use the technology as a tool. The students come into class and they take a very short assessment on the computer. She gets all the results immediately. She knows where all the kids are, and she groups them into different small groups, 2 or 3 at a time, and they all have different work to do based upon where they are, and she works with small groups of students, 2 or 3 at a time, actually taking them as far as they can go. And this is what she said. She said, after this focus on personalization, she said, I know my individual students better than I've ever known them, and I have more time with them. And one of the things that we know, the magic of education, is that relationship between a student and a teacher. And if we can use technology as a tool to maximize that and increase that, then we are all in. We think this is an incredibly important tool as we educate students in this century. So another goal area is accountability. This fall, we launched our first official quality profile after a committed group of community volunteers and staff worked for over a year to develop and prototype this important document. I want you to know it's a living and breathing document, and we will continue to work to evolve the document over time. Now, we can't discuss accountability without mentioning the report card from the state of Ohio. Why do we need a quality profile when we have a report card from the state of Ohio? So I will address that. The report card from the state of Ohio has become very political, and it's constantly changing, and Jim and Stephanie, I'm sure, would agree with me on that. It's an important document, but we can't rely upon the political process to provide a clear and thorough report of our work to all of you. We also cannot rely upon a one-size-fits-all approach from the state. So we need to work together to talk about what is accountability in Upper Arlington, what is important to you, and that is the goal of the quality profile. And so this is a yearly document, focusing on what matters most. And we are going to continue to ask you what is important to you so we can reflect that and measure that on our quality profile. We have a commitment in Upper Arlington, and we have had this commitment for decades and decades and decades to educating the whole child. And so the goal of the quality profile is to look at the whole child, whereas the goal of the report card from the state is to look at scores on government tests. Again, that is one important measure, but it's not enough. And so our commitment to accountability is shown through in the quality profile. Andy's already talked about the fourth goal, which is efficiency, but I thought I would just pause for a moment and remind you, I've already said this once, but the next round of community meetings are February 23rd and 24th. February 23rd and 24th, and we would love to have all of you there. And please visit our table again in the auditorium lobby to sign up and be a part of that process. The ownership goal is our commitment to sharing updates like this with our community regarding the implementation of our strategic plan and everything we do as a school district, and constantly seeking your input. Our Board of Education believes and makes sure that we practice ongoing two-way communication and we maintain a culture of respect, integrity, diversity, and inclusion. These are critically important lessons for students in a community that so deeply values both leadership and service to others. This is a truly exciting time for our schools and community as we embrace our vision of challenging and supporting every student every step of the way, and we seek to achieve our vision of uniquely accomplished students who are prepared to serve, lead, and succeed. I want you to know that as a school district, we are leading the way in the region, in the state, and then in the nation, and we're honored to serve you, a community that places such a high value on education. We are committed to meeting and exceeding your expectations as we move forward. I also want you to know, and this is very exciting, we are quickly approaching the centennial of our community. Both our city and our school district were both established in 1918, and you're going to see the logo for our centennial. It's really nice, and you'll see the tagline, which I love: a cherished past and a golden future. And I think that says it all about Upper Arlington. Now, since I came here a few years ago, I've spent some time studying the history of our community and studying the history of our city. And I'll tell you, I've been very impressed by the wisdom and the vision of those who came before us. We truly stand on their shoulders. And I am a student of history, and I like to look back into history for inspiration. And there's a quote that I love by a gentleman named Daniel Burnham, and some of you may know him. He was an architect who worked on the Chicago World's Fair of 1893. And I want to read you his words, which are also on the screen. He said this: "Make no little plans. They have no magic to stir our blood and probably themselves will not be realized. Make big plans. Aim high and hope and work, remembering that a noble, logical diagram once recorded will never die, but long after we are gone, be a living thing, asserting itself with ever-growing insistency. Remember that our children and our grandchildren are going to do things that would stagger us." Those who came before us in Upper Arlington understood this. And I believe it's now our turn to think big and plan for the next 100 years of our schools. We are aiming high and hope in our work because our children deserve the very best education possible. And I believe that our children and our grandchildren truly are going to do things that will stagger us. I want to share a final video before I provide a few announcements about the remainder of the evening. This video is titled simply, "We Are UA," and it illustrates our commitment to serving you and this very special community. Let's watch this together.
Upper Arlington Schools offers what our community values: excellence and an exclusive education that you can't find anywhere else. Our schools are national leaders in education, and our students go on to be leaders in both college and in their careers. Time and time again, our graduates return to Upper Arlington to raise their own families. Why? Because Upper Arlington is more than just a legacy of academic excellence. Upper Arlington Schools is a vibrant community committed to preparing our students to serve, lead, and succeed.
It's just an incredible community, so supportive, so encouraging, and the thirst for excellence, like I said, is unparalleled.
And Upper Arlington was the choice because of the schools. There is no question about it. And I think we continue to stay here because of that. And we want to stay involved in the community because of the schools.
We looked all over the country, and without question, Arlington provided just a really great environment for our kids to grow up in.
All three boys graduated from Upper Arlington High School, and now all three have families of their own and homes in Upper Arlington. And I think the school system was a huge part in their decision-making process. They like the community, but they also realized as they're raising their own families that the schools were going to be so important to them. And their experience was so good that they wanted to duplicate that for their children and our grandchildren, which is great.
So student-centered, and I think that as educators, K to 12, we are meeting students where they are at, and we are taking them to the next level. And as a parent and as an educator, you know, if you're looking at every student as a person and as a whole, we can't ask for anything more.
There isn't a day that my daughter doesn't come home from school and is inspired by something that a teacher says to her.
The culture in our school is irresistible. Literally anything they want to do, there's a niche for them here. There's people that share in their interests, there's teachers that share in their interests, there's a club to promote their interests. The opportunities here are so endless.
Well, in my athletic career, I was honored to play on some championship teams, and have been involved with some very successful business operations, and I realize what it takes to win. And Upper Arlington school system has certainly proven to me that they know what the secrets are for a winning combination.
Learn more about why Upper Arlington Schools is a national leader in education. Visit our website to learn more about the strategic plan that drives our work and the educational experiences that prepare our students to serve, lead, and succeed.
During the remainder of tonight, you're going to get a chance to see our students and their talents in action in the learning fair that's going to be happening lining the hallway and in both of our cafeterias. And I hope you're going to take time to check that out tonight. Visit the school store and take in some great musical performances. But before that, I want to wrap up this portion of the evening by inviting a very special group of performers from Wycliffe Progressive School to perform for us. And I want to welcome them, and I want to also welcome their teacher, Kathy Zelnick. Thank you for being with us tonight.
He have 3 guitarists that are going to lead us in Edelweiss. Edelweiss is one of the kids' favorite songs, not because of the gardens, clearly is. Edelweiss was in town with Sound of Music, so if any of you saw it, I hear it was great. Kids, how many of you maybe saw Sound of Music when it was in town? We try to do things that are current in the community too. And these 3 guitarists, we have John, Simon, and Caroline, who are incredible. And I said, Mr. Claris, you're not needed anymore. Your job is done, my job is done. We're taking over, so you get ready. Edelweiss, you'll see the screen that says, at one point, audience, please sing with us. Please do. Please do. When it's done. You guys ready?
Thank you so much. Guys, you were awesome. That was a great way to end our time together tonight. Well done. I want to thank everybody for coming tonight. Enjoy the Learning Fair, which is in the cafeterias and the hallways. Grab some coffee at UA Rise, and there are cookies and water. Again, thanks for being here, and as always, go Bears.